Coming up on Talk is Cheap, we discuss the Venus Project, an idea by Jacques Fresco about living in harmony. Welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk and talk is cheap. I am your host tonight, Dustin Long, and with Dustin, I yell at him for calling me. And over here at my far left is Pete, who calls me Dustin, and I get angry, and I just called myself Dustin. How you doing today, Pete?
Good, Dustin. How are you?
Son of a man. I don't know why I said that. That is so awkward.
We should probably just start over.
You don't
keep it going.
No, that's horrible. I'm going to have people commenting, Dustin.
Dusty, I'm doing pretty well.
Thank you very much. How was your weekend?
Not bad.
Not bad?
It was all right. Not great. Not bad.
Well, maybe you'll get better after the show.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm working on it right now.
Yeah. And then to my immediate left is my best friend, Dano.
Oh, yeah.
How are you, Dan?
I'm great. See, when I sent emails out, too, I had to write your name, and I was like, is it Dustin or Dustin? Because I had to double-check myself, too.
You know what? I've never really gone by my given name, Dustin. I don't like it. And when I met Pete, he was like, oh, Dustin Long. I'm like, no, it's Dusty. And I have a name tag at work, as you plainly know. And he constantly does it. Every meeting we have together, he's like, what's up, Dustin? I just want to slap him in front of everybody.
Well, in my defense, I work with other Dustins that insist on being called Dustin. And I know you well enough to know that you won't get real pissed at me about it. So.
The funny thing is, I get some of their emails.
Oh, sure.
One's in HR. I'm like, I don't know if I should know this or not. But it's nice.
I'm going to show you something funny before we get started. Yeah. You know how I like Apple.
Yep.
And since this show's about UFOs and aliens and we talk about all that stuff, yeah. I found an awesome wallpaper. Check this shit out.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, do you like Apple?
It says,
does it do anything or just sit there?
It says, hey, my Apple, and they got a UFO abducting it. Pretty cool.
I like it.
I guess.
That fits you really well.
I don't have the attachment to Apple, so...
Well, it's a cult.
Like that. Trust me, I believe it.
Next, there'll be an apple-shaped meteor, and they're all going to jump in or dress in jumpsuits and drink purple punch, or something.
Yeah, and try to jump on the tail of it as it goes by.
So today, what I have for y'all is a topic that I've researched a little bit in the past, and I've done a lot more in the last couple of weeks since I got it. It's called the Venus Project. This was submitted as a recommendation by Carl Gray. So, Gary. I'm dyslexic.
Carl Gary?
Yeah, what you don't know is I'm dyslexic, and it was G-A-R-Y, and in my mind it was G-R-A-Y. Thank you. So,
thanks, Carl.
Thank you very much, Carl. So, the Venus Project, what is this, right? This was the brainchild of, here comes the name again. Wait. I'm going to look at it. Jacques Fresco. And if I murder names, you guys should know by now. I do it all the time. What his idea is, the Venus Project is an organization that promotes the architect Jacques Fresco's vision of the future, which involves economic structure known as a resource-based economy. This is really interesting. This is kind of why I started researching it in the first place. In a broad overview, what his idea is that we have AI, intelligent machines running all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. So what we can do, and robots are already taking over a lot of jobs now. So his future vision is that robots and AI will be working in tandem to do the jobs that we're not going to be able to do or don't even need to do anymore. Car manufacturing, digging ditches, digging canals, construction even. I mean, we have a 3D printer right now that's building its own bridge across some little river someplace.
Sure, I think they've done that a couple times now.
Yeah. I've never even heard about that.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a 3D printer. It's on like rails, and it prints the rails and the bridge while it's going across. It's amazing. I think they might be done by now. I don't even know. Yeah,
I think there's been a couple projects like that already.
Yeah, and
so it's been a while since I remember hearing about the first one.
Yeah, and NASA's even talking about 3D printing habitats on like Mars or something, so they're there. So it's that kind of concept. And then the other side of that is the economics part of it is that all these resources will be mined, fabricated and everything else by robots. So then we wouldn't have to do those jobs. right? And then we'll have an influx of all these resources because machines, as we know, are faster workers and they're better workers and whatnot. So then we'll have all these resources, and then the machine, or the AI, which is scares some people, you know, Skynet type thing. The AI will go ahead and say, okay, well, everybody that, you know, a family of 4 will have this much food, this much water, and you won't have a want for those things. Matter of fact, you'll have little, if any, want whatsoever, and that's his grandiose idea. Is the idea that you won't have to have a need for money. Even there won't be wars fought over resources because all resources will be manned by and given away equally to everybody. Which,
well, like once people get to that point, and I kind of said this before myself, like you get enough what you need, and then I almost start feeling like less is more. Like, why would you want a big house if you'd have to clean that whole thing when less feels you're more satisfied inside, and that makes all the difference. Well,
yeah, and we talk in a lot of different groups. What I was in another group on Facebook, and we're talking about elitists the other day. The elite group, the 3% that own 70 or 80% of the money in the world. And there was a comment made that was like, why does anyone need any more than a 3-bedroom house? I mean, if you're a family of 4, 3 or 4 bedroom house type thing. And these people that are up there, they make billions of dollars sometimes, and they're not even spending it. And they have 15, room houses and whatnot, and it's not a need. But they're people. All right. So name drop. So this is what's going on. That started because of that preacher down in New Orleans that flooded, or Houston. And that televangelist was saying that the church was flooded and they couldn't put people in there. And of course, nowadays everyone's got a cell phone with a camera on it, and there's like it wasn't flooded.
They went down to the church, and had an inch in their parking
lot. And the guy's like, he's selling salvation by $15 a bottle of holy water or whatever, and he lives in this massive mansion, and yet no one's helping the homeless, say, around there or whatnot. So that's kind of how it started. So the Venus Project and the whole idea is to get rid of poverty, to get rid of war. I'm going to scroll up.
That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah. And I'm getting a little ahead of myself because this is not the way I want to do it. But I am actually kind of happy about this whole situation and the idea behind it. So this would be one of his circular cities. And the reason he did circular is because it just made more sense. A lot of people have said that he was looking at trying to make it more futuristic. But for him, it made more sense. And I don't see, you guys can't see it right here, but you can see it's broken into spokes and then sections, right? So say this right section is medical, right? So back here where all these trees are and everything else, those are homes. And the homes are given to you. So say you say, I want to live near where I work with my medical friends, so they give you a home. So then you have to eat, they give you your food and your water and so on, and your electricity and so on and so forth. Now that whole section there is medical. So what you would do is you go to work, and you wouldn't have. If it's up to you, but I think what their average was, like, every human only has to work for like 4 hours a day, if anything.
Nice.
So they go in there and they work on medical stuff. New surgeries, new technology, whatever it happens to be. And that medical hub, is connected to all the other hubs, but it's also connected to every other medical hub in the world, because this would be a global thing. So they wouldn't be just working with themselves, or by themselves.
Completely isolated.
Yeah, they're sharing ideas around the world. And everyone's working towards this common good. Now, Jock actually said something that I thought was really interesting, something I kind of took to heart. He said that people in the medical field and the science field, they have a certain way they talk. It's very specific. He said that everybody else, it's kind of random, and we can't really, it's hard to communicate at times. It's kind of like two people standing 5 feet from each other looking at a forest, and one guy says, hey, do you see that tree? Well, there's a lot of trees,
Right.
And even from that different perspective, just 5 degrees, something that's right in front of me is, 5, 10 degrees off for you. So I can say, look at that tree right there, and you can't see it. And that kind of goes with language too. So when you talk to a doctor or you talk to a scientist, there's very specific. Like a doctor isn't going to do surgery and ask the nurse for a sponge, and she's going to hand him a scalpel. It's very specific. They know exactly what we're talking about. And that's what that idea is what he's talking about too, is that we get all these people together and they're all talking the same language, and next thing you know, we can make bigger leaps and bounds and that type of thing. So in the very center, okay, so that's medical. The other one over here might be agricultural and so on and so forth. You don't have to live in that spoke. Outside of that spoke there, you can live anywhere you want. And everything's connected and interconnected. Everything is being not ran, but kind of supervised by an AI. So it's always there to help you. Think of Star Trek. You know, when you walk in, you say, "What the hell is Star Trek?"
So it's just a computer? Or are we talking like robot AI?
Well, this would be a overcompensating like a computer system, kind of like the internet, and it's just sitting there, kind of, you know,
a Siri or a Cortana or
something
whatever,
like that.
Right?
So it's not doing anything but that. And then there's other programs near that too. So one program is in charge of architecture. The other program is in charge of farming and whatnot. And then those programs talk to another one, and that says, oh, that corn needs to go here because these people need, I don't know, alcohol.
Corn.
Corn, yeah. The center of the spoke, you see that dome, what he envisions is those will be centers, and that's why it's in the center of just like, I guess, relaxing. So that's where everyone can go. That's where your restaurants are. That's where, and everything's free. So say you want to, you know, pick up the violin and play it. Well, you don't have to buy a violin. You can go there and there'll be violins that you can just kind of check out, do the thing, and then put it away. And it's always there. Books, healthcare is free. He talks a little bit about how healthcare and clean water and food and all these other things should be a human right. Kind of like we say we have human rights, you know. I have the right to remain silent. I have the right to an attorney. I've heard all these things a couple times. Those same rights should be, you know, universal. We should all have the rights to go and have health care and be seen if we're sick. It's the same thing for housing, in his opinion. There should be nobody homeless. And the reason he says this is because, if you look at it, there's enough resources for everybody. He grew up in the Depression, and that's where he got upset, is because he said he was looking at this and the factories were closed down, and it wasn't because there wasn't the resources to actually bring into the factory. It was just that no one had the money to buy it or to manufacture these things.
See, this is where I'll agree that that's true if we don't have a monetary system.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you disagree, that you think it can be done with money. I don't think it can be.
I think that see, when we say money, we put a very big emphasis on that dollar bill. You know, I'm a huge reader, so I read science fiction too, and there's authors out there that have written about that type of thing too, which I think is excellent. And they say that the money idea is more like, it's more like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like, you know, coins when you're playing, you know, Mario Brothers, right? You get a few coins for going through the level. But instead of like those coins being the end all be all, I gotta pay rent or whatever else, those are just things that you kind of acquired. And then if you say I want to buy Pete's truck, and then I could be like, well, Pete, you know, I want your truck. Well, he says, why can't you get a free one? Because yours is painted cooler, you know, or something like that.
Sure.
So then you could use those credits, you know, to purchase some kind of thing, and it is different. I believe that we could do it without a monetary system. I really do. I think that everything could be just free and simple. But I always look at the other side. It's like, well, what about the guy that's in charge that says, well, I can go ahead and get some extra corn if I give this guy some extra grain or something, and then he can have an influx. And then I think you have that corruption aspect.
Yeah.
But with the Venus Project, there wouldn't be corruption because it's ran by an AI. So you'd have fail-safes and everything else involved. So there's not a guy up there going, well, this guy gets a little bit extra. So
this is so interesting. You know, we covered Al Bielek in the Montauk Project, and he went to the future, and he talked about an AI computer running that civilization.
Yeah, didn't he give him a job or something? Or
yeah, he was a tour guide.
Yeah,
he was assigned a job, right?
Yeah.
And that's another interesting thing too, because this type of situation or the Venus Project isn't the only one I've read about, but there's people that are saying that we should be testing children, and I agree with this, and seeing what they're proficient at. So if you're really, really good at, you know, mechanical engineering or anything mechanical, then they kind of just, you know, squeeze those classes down to stuff that you would want to do.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, there might be something that I might enjoy doing. I have no idea what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if there was like a good test that could figure out what you would like.
Yep.
I mean, how cool would that be?
You know, and today they run people through all sorts of aptitude tests, and if you want to get really into the weeds, the government already is plucking people out of programs that they see as gifted and to help excel their agendas.
Oh yeah.
You know, one thing that I have a couple questions about this. One thing, it kind of scares me, especially when you say, "Oh, we're going to find out what people are good at and focus them on that." Well, that doesn't necessarily, just because somebody's good at something doesn't mean that they would enjoy it or want to do it, right? You know?
Yeah.
So
or maybe give them a variety and give them a rotation.
Sure.
It's like I'm really poor at math. I had to take algebra like 3 freaking times, and the only reason I passed it in college is because my buddy let me cheat off of him. And I'm not joking.
But you don't even use it today. So.
Never use algebra. No. And anytime you put X, Y, and Z in there, I don't give a But anyway, I'm not good at math, right? But they made me take math classes. However, I'm great at physics. That's the one class, which is a science class. I didn't know. I thought it was a math class. They were like, no, it's a science. But anyway, so when I got into college, they said, you're taking physics too. And I'm like, Jesus, you know, I suck at algebra. What is physics going to be like? Next thing you know, I'm rocking it. I'm loving this stuff because it makes sense to me and everything else. So if they were to give me a test and say, well, you suck at algebra, and there's no point giving you these classes anyway because you're going to fail and you have to get tutored and everything else.
Sure.
Why don't we W you up on a physics, or why don't we W you up on something else, or give you another class that doesn't have to be math? Like we're so structured, you have to have 4 math classes, 4 science classes, 4 English classes, 4 PE classes.
Yeah, and they attempt to round you out, you know.
You shouldn't be rounded out, in my opinion.
And
I'm not good at something.
Good, you get a failing grade and have to redo it over.
My GPA drops. I'm not looking good. My confidence in myself has dropped because now all of a sudden I'm failing a college course that I'm paying for, and I feel like a failure. You know, it's like, well, what am I doing? I'm going to tutors. The tutors are like, I don't understand why you can't get it. I'm looking at them going, I don't get it.
Especially if the college class has nothing to do with your profession that you're going for. That's even stupider yet.
I don't think I've used algebra in anything that I went to college for. But that being said, if they would have gone ahead, and that's what the idea is, and I guess there's other countries that kind of do something similar, but they go ahead and they test, and I heard China, I haven't never researched it, but China does kind of the same thing. They test you, say, you're really good at English. So instead of, you know, math class, we're going to give you basic math class. So you learn how to add, subtract, divide, multiply. Okay, that's fractions maybe. You're good. That's more so you're going to need in your life. And then they say, okay, well, do you like to read? Do you like to write? Do you like to read? You know, and then they give you these ideas, but they send you out in a little bit more, you know, degreed towards where you want. And then throughout, you know, from K to 12, they kind of just narrow that a little bit down, and your choice. It's up to you. And they narrow that down, narrow that down, narrow it down. And then when you go to college, well, now you have this really great education in what you're passionate about, and then you go forward. Now, like Jock says, say the guy is great at English, but he doesn't like it. You know, he's great at it. He says, hell with it. I want to be a musician. Well, then, all right. Okay. That's what you want to do, fine. So you take him and you give him the basic classes so you can learn to multiply, add, divide, and everything else. But then you go ahead and you give him math or music classes. It's like free college. A lot of people say free college doesn't work because every Tom, Dick, and Harry will be trying to get into college, even if they're, you know, dumb or something. You still got to be tested. You still got to get in there. You still got to show an aptitude to what you want to do. So say the guy wants to do music, but he can't strum a note to hold, you know, in a heartbeat. They're going to be like, sorry, bro, but you have to contribute something to, you know, this common good. So there's going to be that no answer. There's not this free and crazy. Hey.
So won't that start a rebellion?
I mean, it depends on how you do it, really. I mean, because you're starting at a young age, and the kid says, I want to be a drummer, and you're like, all right. And so he's a decent drummer, but you still got to give him a bit of an education anyway. You don't want him just to know how to tap a stick, and then, you know, he can't even wipe his own arse or something, you know. So even then, if, say, he wanted to be a drummer, but then you're still going to be manual jobs that need to be done. Someone's got to check the lines. Someone's got to be checking the AI. Someone's got to be doing this and that. So there'll still be jobs, but you don't have to work 4 hours a day, so you'll have a lot of people sitting around strumming guitar or whatever. So he'll have to go do those things. And it might not be something that's glamorous. Now he might have to go and fix the plumbing in the bathroom. But
so it was 4 hours, 5 days a week? Is that what he
just said 4 hours a day.
Okay.
But he figures this: if you're doing what you're passionate about, and we've talked about this, we work full time outside of here, and this is what we're passionate about. So if someone was to allow us to do this, I would wake up every morning being thrilled that I get to go and make YouTube videos or research cool ass things like this. But we don't have that, so we're doing that, you know, secondary. But say someone said, hey, you can do this. I mean, how much effort are you going to put into it? I only got to put in 4 hours a day. Well, next thing you know, I'm putting in 6. I'm enjoying myself, you know, and so on and so forth. And that's the idea. And that I think actually works. I think psychology has proven that if you enjoy yourself, you're going to keep doing those things. Like I play a lot of video games, and I'm on Twitch, and you know, I spend at least 4 or 5 hours a week on that, and it gets to the point some days where it's like, oh, shit, let me turn on the OBS. I'm on Twitch. Well, watch me. And then I'm sitting there playing video games, and I'm trying to be entertaining. I'm trying to have fun, but at the same time, now it's became a job.
Well,
so
that's my point. You take anything that you're passionate about or you enjoy, you do it too much, you'll burn out, and then next thing you know, you don't like it anymore, and it is a job.
It is, but it's a job that I want to have, so I gladly do it. It's just some days I'm like, I don't want to do this. I want to watch
I don't think you're ever
Amazon,
going to get away from that. So, Dusty, this guy, Jacques Fresco, does he have anything like this going on right now? I mean,
he has a project down in Florida.
Okay.
It's actually called the Venus Project, I believe, or Venus. He wanted to buy a place in the Caribbean. He couldn't do it, so they bought this tomato field patch thing. Really, they did everything. They planted the palm trees. They dug canals to look similar to this. Oh, he talks about cities in the sea, which is something, or in the oceans, which is something I'm really passionate about. And I think it's an excellent idea, where you would have these floating cities, and you'd have the same thing. And if you live on land and say you want to go visit your aunt that lives out there, you don't have to pay for anything. You just go and say, I want to, jump on this yacht or whatnot.
That one right there doesn't look very hurricane-proof.
Well, it depends on where it's at. Sometimes you don't need hurricane-proof, of course. That could be in the Great Lakes. Who knows?
Yes.
But yeah, there's a lot of, he's got all these ideas. He's an architecture major. That's the other thing. If you look into his background, though, he says he's a doctor. He was trying to do these things. He really didn't, like education-wise, he doesn't have a really strong foundation. But what he was good at was forward thinking, in my opinion, and he was a structural engineer. He was in a few documentaries.
Zeitgeist.
Yeah, thank you. I can't speak worth a damn.
I thought you would have knew that for sure.
I can't say it. It's like I can't even say anything. So and he does a lot of public speaking. Well, he did. He's dead now.
Is he?
Yeah, he's
so Jacques is dead?
Yeah, it says that, let me see. It said it in his Wikipedia, died May 18th, 2017 at age 101.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought it would have been recent
complications from Parkinson's disease is how he died, passed away.
So was his project he made in Florida self-sufficient?
You know what? That's a really good question that I didn't even find the answer to. I know it's all ran on, he has a lot of solar and geothermal and whatnot. And I was actually watching a little bit of that, and then I got caught up in how to make your own hot water heater. So solar-powered hot water heater using pop cans.
Because, I'm just, I get a little skeptical when I hear about these things. This is very similar to the Ubuntu project. We talked about that, and I kept saying during that episode, it kind of smells like a cult to me.
Yeah, you pissed off Mike.
Yeah, I did. I did piss off Mike, didn't I? Well, Jacques can't come back and yell at me about that. So, in theory, I like it. It sniffs a little of communism too when you start talking about, everybody's getting everything the same and all that stuff.
Now, see, his argument against that is that communism, socialism, and communism.
You're on a roll tonight, Dustin.
Oh, I'm really good. I've not even drank a beer yet. The reason why people say it's going to fail because of that is because socialism and those things are based on, we're based on money. See, he's saying if you take away the money aspect, if you get rid of that, then you have no more corruption. Or not no more, but you have very, very little bit. You'll have no more crime. So if you have no want, if you can go out and literally say, I want a brand new TV, and then 10, 15, 20 minutes or a day or two later, this brand new TV shows up because it's free. So then do you have to rob anybody? Do you have to, and if you're not living in poverty, I mean, all of us are struggling at times to pay bills. And you don't have to worry about which bill to pay or what you're going to feed your kids or those things because everything is given to you. And all you have to do to put in is go to work at a job you love that you've been kind of training for your whole life. And what more do you need? I mean, the idea is homelessness will go away. Your crime will go, not go away. It's not. There's still going to be sick dudes out there and women that are going to, I hate to say the word, but they're going to rape people or whatever else. You're never going to get away from that type of thing. There's going to be murders and whatnot. And
Mike did say you still have to have a police force.
Yeah. You're still going to have that.
And you misbehave, they just chuck you back out to the general population on
right?
On the mainland that's living the way that we're doing right now.
I mean, so you're still going to have that. You're probably going to have some kind of police force, like I said, you have to have a fire department. But he's saying there's no more wars because we fight wars over resources.
Stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean. I was in the service, as y'all know, and we went over to Iraq, and we said it was for the good of the people. And I don't see us doing anything for those Iraqis when we left. Well, then taking apart and then being like, here you go. So you and I think all of us kind of know we were really there for the oil, or like Gaddafi.
But
getting rid of him
we still need oil. We still need iron, and
that'd all be done by robots.
Yeah.
What would you need oil for? Because this could be renewable energy.
Well, lubrication.
Well, you still need oil, but you'd be very
making plastics. That's all oil based. I mean, you can.
I like the algae based plastics.
Yeah, and obviously, if you're talking about
Soybean
AI
oil.
and technology, you're talking about petrol fossil fuel based oils and stuff.
But you
like
still need it. But you need so little of it that there wouldn't be unless you're going to be De Beers and have a huge amount of diamonds in the back and only release 100 a year and then charge an arm and a leg, but that's not going to be allowed. So now you have no more greed. You have no more want and these types of things. So, and the thing that I liked about this is, and the whole reason I learned about this way back when was because I was reading a book about spacefaring as a war. Peter F. Hamilton, I think, writes it. But anyway, so they were talking about a whole civilization, a whole world that did this, and their science was 10 times further than ours ever would be, in the book even, but because they were all based on creating this newest technology or whatever else, and they didn't have to fight wars, and
much more collaborative, right? Yeah,
I mean, if you think about it, look at the science right now. If a German and an American science groups are going ahead and they're doing the same exact, experiment.
Sure.
Okay, well, they get a different thing from the Germans, right? We don't go and bomb the hell out of Germany and it's like, no, we're right. No, they talk to them like, well, what'd you do? And this was just in the paper not too long ago. And I don't know if it was Germany, America, but it was two groups and they got two different answers and they had two different hypotheses. Ooh, that's a word. Hypothesize. Yeah. But anyway, they had two different those, and they came up with the different conclusions. So what do? They decide, hey, do you want to work together? Well, that's what they did. They worked together, and now they're working towards this, like, hey, you might be wrong, I may be wrong, but who gives a shit? The idea is getting the right answer.
Sure, the science it drives itself.
Yep. And that's what we're kind of missing in society now is there's no driving force. I think that's the reason why a lot of us like post-apocalyptic and zombie things. A lot of people like it, right? Well, what happens when there's a zombie horde? Everybody that that's not a zombie, of course, they're all trying to go ahead and live. They're trying to survive. They're trying
rebuilding civilization. It's like starting over.
So you have to work with your neighbor. And whether or not you like the poor bastard, you got to do it. Otherwise, you're going to have one less man, defending the colony or whatever it is. And that's, I think, the reason why some people like that idea. And I hear people saying, I can't wait for the zombie apocalypse. Right. I think it's because we'll get rid of what we have now, which is, in my opinion, is a kind of a crappy way we're looking at life.
So how does this compare to the Ubuntu? Because they're both kind of similar, but they're different.
Well,
at first blush, the Ubuntu to me doesn't seem like it's stressing as much on AI.
It was like
this is building more of a futuristic.
Yeah, this was way more future, and his was more of just like
building with a town that exists already.
Yep,
which you could do now, but
and,
this
and
is going to take time to build.
Certain, and it wasn't as much self-sustaining as self-generating. So the community could get stuff through what they're overproducing. If you remember in the Ubuntu, a third gets sold right to the market, a third gets kept, or I forget what the thirds were. There was a third, there was
three.
Yeah, and however it was broken down, but they relied on the outside society to still kind of almost function so that they could get their trades until they could build enough to make that their own. And I guess this would be the same way. I mean, overnight you're not going to have all of your oil drilling robots and hay picking robots or whatever have you overnight.
Did he say that he was he's waiting for the tech to get there?
Yeah, it would be something that we could start now, but it would be something that we'd definitely have to work for, because there's not an AI right now that could run the global farms.
But very interesting. Just a week and a half ago, I read an article. I think it was in England. 6-acre plot was completely cultivated, planted, and harvested by AI. It was the folks completely automated.
Was this the automatic combines and
stuff? Yeah.
Okay.
Did you catch that too?
I saw some videos of those.
Yeah. So it was like they had a little 6-acre plot that this little team of there was a much smaller scale than the combines that we have today that you'd see out in the fields. But it went out and it did everything and had the hay bales stacked up there at the edge of the field.
It's like with those. This is what I'm going to do when I get my own house. Get an automatic lawnmower and it just cuts whenever.
Yep.
And goes back, charges.
Yep. They
Don't
got
have to worry about it.
those iRobots, the Zumba robots.
Yeah,
vacuuming.
Roomba. Yeah,
Roombas.
Roomba. I've always wanted one too.
I used to have a Roomba vacuum. They worked great until it broke, and then you had to replace the whole thing. And
How long did it last?
3-4 years. It was like $200 I paid for it. It was nice.
It did a good job.
Yeah, it did a better job than my regular vacuum
Like it
cleaner.
got around everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was really cool to watch it go. The program would take it around the room and cover every area at least twice before it shut down.
Wow.
You get all that automation, and if your wife still bitches, time to leave.
I've always wanted one to make it to look like an R2D2, so just like R2 would be driving around. That'd be cool. So, well, that's the idea. And see, we already have some of the tech, and I think we have a lot of the tech. To be honest, it's just we're not using it in the right way. I mean, we got drones and that fly in wars and everything else, and I just watched that we can cloak a tank so it looks invisible, and even in thermal, they can change the way the thermals work so it looks like a car. Okay, so that had to take a lot of time and a lot of tech and a lot of scientists and engineers sitting around trying to figure that out. Well, maybe if they were trying to figure out how we can, dig canals all robotically, then we'd be a step closer. So, and that's one of his biggest complaints. So I guess I'm going to wrap it up because I've been droning on. I didn't even touch half my notes, but it was Gary. I want to thank, or Carl, because I was going to mess it up. Gary. Carl, I want to thank you very much for giving this. The idea. I thought it was great. I implore you guys to go out and do the research yourself. TheVenusProject.com. They have movies and documentaries. I watched 4 documentaries. I read like 4 papers, the wiki. And what I just found out because I happened to click on it was there's an app on my phone now through Google Play. I'm going to see, where is it at? Called TV Project, which is the Venus Project. Yeah. So I don't know what the hell I can do with this app.
What does it do? It
just sits there? Well, it's sitting there clicking around right now.
It must be an alpha.
It's just freaking... Anyway, I don't know. I just
downloading all his personal data.
See, Apple would have never approved that app.
So, yeah, it's wigging out. I'm kind of... Maybe I shouldn't have brought this up. It just kind of flicks over and over and over and over again. I think it's trying to load. But yeah, so they have all sorts of information out. The gentleman... Jack was a great... Oh my God, it was a virus or something. It will not go away, folks. Do not download the app until I get back to you.
Look for an update in the comments section.
Oh my God. Seriously, go away.
You don't have that problem on iOS.
No. You don't have anything.
All right, bring us home, Dusty.
I'm trying, but I'm really nervous. My phone's dying. So anyway, that was a horrible way to end it.
I know.
So I implore you to go out there, watch the videos, do some research. And he did say something, and one of his quotes is, if you don't believe it can happen, then you won't be the solution to the problem, or something very similar.
Yeah, you got to believe that you can make it happen.
It wouldn't be perfect. It's probably not exactly what he thinks, and it wouldn't be what we think, but I think any step closer to renewables and less war, less poverty, and all that's a better thing.
Yes, it is.
So I want to thank you very much for tuning in this week. I want to thank, of course, Pete. I want to thank, of course, Dan. And we will catch you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Yo.